PK here. Today I'm here to talk about Super Mario Bros. 2. It's a game that many people have strong opinions about. Some people like it because of how radically different it is from the first and third game. Some also don't like it for that very reason. Some people don't like the fact that Japan got a different Super Mario Bros. 2, which we know is Lost Levels, and because they have felt that the Super Mario Bros. 2 for the Western audience is nothing but a reskin version of Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic, which I will constantly refer to as Doki Doki Panic. But is it really nothing but a reskin version? Or was a lot more thought put into this game than meets the eye? Of the people that say Super Mario Bros. 2 is nothing but a remade Doki Doki Panic, how many of those people have even played Doki Doki Panic, or even watched actual game footage of it? If you have never seen game footage of Doki Doki Panic, I highly recommend watching some. There's plenty of it on YouTube. I'll even put a link in the description below. So let's check out some Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES. First off, I just want to say that Super Mario Bros. 2 is one heck of an upgrade from Doki Doki Panic. For starters, players were finally given the B button to run, because what would any Mario game be without a run button? Super Mario Bros. 2 was not just a simple reskin of Doki Doki. The entire world got a visual overhaul. Everything from the vines to the cherries on down to vegetable leaves and enemies received extra frames of animation, which gave Super Mario Bros. 2 a far more bright and colorful look than which the game it is based on got. And to make the game seem a little less boring, they got rid of one of the Mauser bosses from the 5th level entirely and replaced him with a mean crab known as Claw Grip, which makes him a North American exclusive. There were a lot of interesting Mario-related things in the game. For example, Claw Grip tosses rocks in a very similar manner in the way Donkey Kong tossed barrels. Weirdly enough, Claw Grip would frequently bang his chest like a gorilla. In the Super NES 16-bit style version, some of the indoor areas look like warehouses with familiar-looking girders in the background. The game has POW blocks in it, which makes reference to the original arcade smash hit, Mario Brothers. There are many references to the original Super Mario Bros. The Starman power-up appears in the game as well as turtle shells. The Super Mushroom item, which was originally in Super Mario Bros. 1, was in Super Mario Bros. 2 as well, as the ability to shrink once the player is down to 1 heart point. Unlike Doki Doki Panic, where the character did not shrink. Another interesting note is that when they were originally developing Super Mario Bros. 2 for the Western audience, that going small actually would have made the game much easier in some levels. So to fix this problem, they just simply made the characters' heads bigger. The title theme of Super Mario Bros. 2 is a remix from the music of the original Super Mario Bros. And the subspace theme is the original theme used in the overworld levels of the original Super Mario Bros. Before Super Mario Bros. 2, Luigi was just a palette swap twin of Mario. He was nothing more than a doppelganger in a white and green coveralls. Only in the 1986 Mario anime, which even Nintendo doesn't like to acknowledge, had Luigi ever appeared taller than Mario at the time. This, of course, was before the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, but that is here nor there. In Super Mario Bros. 2, Luigi is tall and can jump higher than Mario. This is the game that gave Luigi his own personal identity. A very interesting side note. In Super Mario World for the Super NES and Wii Virtual Console, Luigi is nothing but a palette swap of Mario again, and not a very good one. But in the Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World version, they completely overhauled Luigi and they gave him his own sprite set. They even changed his run cycle and his jump style entirely. Instead of sliding on his butt like Mario, he slides on his knees, and instead of shooting fire from his hand, he spits it out. My point is, without Super Mario Bros. 2, Luigi might have been nothing but a dead ringer to Mario, for who knows how long. Super Mario Bros. 2 was Luigi's own personal game changer. Although the game lacked familiar faces like the Koopa Troopas, Goombas, and Bowser, Super Mario 2 spawned several characters that have been promoted to full-fledged Mario characters. Can you imagine Super Mario RPG without Shy Guys? Bob-ombs are now synonymous with the Mario series and even were in Super Mario Bros. 3. Pokey remains the most adorably dangerous cactus in the Mushroom Kingdom, and even made an appearance in Super Mario 64. Oh yeah, and don't forget Birdo. Birdo is very confused about who he is. I never realized that as a kid. I always thought Birdo was a girl, not a guy. How confusing is that? Then we have the main villain of the game, Wart. Wart is an interesting final boss whose only other appearance is in a Zelda game. He really hasn't shown the longevity of a Mario villain like Bowser. Although his name is dropped in Super Paper Mario and Mario Superstars Baseball, as well as an alleged son appearing in Animal Crossing, Wart has never physically appeared in a single Mario game for more than 2 decades. However, a very recognizable Wart appears in The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening under his original Japanese name, Mamu, and is actually an ally to Link and teaches him the last song of the Ocarina. There were 3 versions of Super Mario Bros. 2. The first version being the NES / Wii Virtual Console version, and then there was Super Mario All-Stars version / there was also a Wii 25th Anniversary port of Super Mario All-Stars, so there's that version as well. And then there was Super Mario Advance for Game Boy Advance. Personally, I think Super Mario Advance for the Game Boy Advance is by far the definitive version of Super Mario Bros. 2. It even includes a port of the arcade smash Mario Bros. The GBA version took everything that was awesome about the Super Mario All-Stars version and made it even better. IGN called the game, and I quote, one of the most polished and creative platformers of the era. There are so many changes from the All-Stars version that I couldn't begin to list them all. Don't take my word for it though. Try them all out for yourself and see what you think. Super Mario Bros. 2. Did it really happen? Besides Super Mario Bros. 2 being in such a wildly different world compared to the Mushroom Kingdom, Super Mario Bros. 2 takes place, of course, in the world known as Subcon. Many argue and try to deny Super Mario Bros. 2 its canonical status because of the ending of the game. 20-year-old spoiler alert, everyone. To me, this is nothing but an empty argument, because not many people out there would say Link's Awakening isn't a sequel to Link to the Past just because it happens to be a dream as well. And if we're going to go down that rabbit hole, let's take a quick look at the internet's most recent revelation about Super Mario Bros. 3. Yeah, we're going there. Apparently Super Mario Bros. 3 was nothing but a stage play, which makes a hell of a lot of sense if you think about it. I mean, you drop Bowser into a lava pit at the end of the first Super Mario Bros. Game. How could Bowser exist after dying, and where did all the Koopa kids come from? You can't explain that. My point is Super Mario Bros. 2 is no more or no less canonical than Super Mario Bros. 3. The story of how we got the non-Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2 is interesting to say the least. The game that would be Doki Doki Panic and later become Super Mario Bros. 2 originally started as a Mario 2 prototype, developed by Kensuke Tanabe. I apologize if I butchered his name. The prototype emphasizes vertical scrolling levels and throwing blocks. Notably, it was originally intended to be a 2-player co-op game, allowing players to toss each other around, which is something that was kind of used later in Super Mario Bros. Superstar Saga. Still a 1-player game though, nonetheless. The gameplay was considered not very fun and got scrapped. So it was decided to add more Mario-like elements such as horizontal levels, though many vertical-oriented levels were kept in the final project. Later, Tanabe received instruction for the developed game to use the Yume Kojo mascots in the game, at which point he expanded the gameplay and developed Doki Doki Panic for the Family Computer Disk System during Nintendo's agreement with Fuji Television Company. The game was changed in order to fit with the theme of the mascots of the company and their adventure. After Nintendo of America had concluded that the Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2 was way too difficult for a Western audience, Nintendo redeveloped Doki Doki Panic into Super Mario Bros. 2 for the international market outside of Japan. Technically, Doki Doki is a reworking of the Mario 2 prototype. This is the game Nintendo claims initially was intended to be Super Mario Bros. 2. So Japan just ended up getting a super hard reworked version of the first game, and with some new added features. And they got this game 9 months after the first Super Mario Bros. Come on, 9 months after the first one came out? What is this, the Call of Duty franchise? Come on, seriously. Besides, did we really want poison mushrooms rather than the Western Super Mario Bros. 2? Just saying. So which is the true Super Mario Bros. 2? And why did we never hear about the true story of how Super Mario Bros. 2, or Super Mario Bros. USA as it's called in Japan, came to be till like 2011? Why were we allowed to believe that Lost Levels was the true sequel and Doki Doki Panic had absolutely nothing to do with Mario? And Super Mario Bros. 2 was nothing but a reskin version of Doki Doki Panic? Why were we allowed to believe that? Is this Nintendo putting all the untruthful rumors of Super Mario Bros. 2 finally to rest? Or is this simply Nintendo just doing some retroactive cleanup? I'll let you decide that. Since this is a review, I do have to give it a rating. And I give it a 9 out of 10. Nintendo in their own way actually took more of a risk than they realized. The Western version of Super Mario Bros. 2 was a huge departure from the original and gave you the ability to play as 4 different characters. The level design was more imaginative than the original, the gameplay was different, but you knew this was a Mario game when you looked at it. It had all the elements you needed to know that it was a Mario game. The only remotely negative thing I can say about this game is that it lacks multiplayer. But I am an only child, and growing up as a kid, I didn't care. That's all the time I have for today. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and now Pinterest. Thanks again for watching. Keep on collecting, and most importantly, keep on gaming.